right, here's my audience.
Oh, sorry. Ah.
Can you not? All right, ready? I'm sure plenty of people have seen the aquarium at the dentist's office or while they're waiting at the local PetSmart and have thought, man, a tank would sure be cool to have, but it'd just be too much work. Today I'm going to help break down how to easily set up the tank, maintain it, and make it seem more manageable for anybody that would be interested. Fish keeping is a multi-billion-dollar hobby around the world that many experienced hobbyists will spend thousands of dollars on yearly. When people first think of aquarium, they usually think of a saltwater aquarium, but today I'll be going over freshwater tanks because that's what I have. They're easier to keep and they're cheaper. I've personally been keeping them for about 2 years. Everything I know about aquariums I either saw firsthand in one of my tanks or I've learned through meticulous research. I believe it's a great hobby and would love to help anyone else that would be interested in it as well. So today I will inform my audience on how to set up a freshwater tank, maintain it, choose the right equipment, and that's it. All right, let me get started with my first main point, which is how to properly choose the right equipment for your tank. The first piece you'll need to have is the big boy, the tank. The first thing you want to do is find where you're going to put it and get it measured so you can know what size of tank you can put in there. There's no reason to fall in love with the tank and then realize it's way too big for your space. And you just don't want to do that. The next piece of equipment you'll want to have will be your filter. The easiest type of filter for a beginner to have will just be a regular hang-on back filter. They are cheap compared to a lot of other types of filters and fairly easy to maintain. If possible, you might also want to go with the filter that's a little bit bigger than your tank size recommends, because a bigger filter can manage more fish in your tank, which is obviously more fun for you. The third main piece of equipment you might need is the heater, which is right in the back there. Most fish need a heater due to the fact that most common aquarium fish are from tropical regions. The other main thing you'll need to think about is where do you live? If you live in Minnesota with freezing winters, you're obviously going to want a heater. If you live in tropical sunny Florida, it may not be quite as appropriate because it's hot there, so you don't really need it. So just buy the most appropriate size heater for your situation. All right, now that you have all that equipment figured out, it's time to get started with our second point, which is how to set up the tank. The first thing you want to do is you're going to want to rinse out the substrate. That way you get all the dirt out and stuff and it doesn't clog up your filter when you get started. And then next, you're going to choose, do you want to go with real or fake? In my tank, I have all real wood, real plants, real rocks, because I just think it looks better, but it's more expensive. So a lot of beginners go with plastic plants, and that's just fine. You just do you. And then you'll want to go ahead and get it filled up, get some dechlorinator in there to protect the fish, and you should be ready for the next step. So you're probably thinking, I'm ready to add all my fish now. Sadly, there's one more step you must do before you can safely add the fish to your tank. It's called cycling the tank, and it's one of the most important steps to the fish setup process. According to aquariuminfo.org, nothing kills more fish than not properly understanding how to cycle your tank. I don't personally have enough time because I could talk about that for hours. So I would suggest researching that before you set up your tank to make sure your fish are all happy and healthy. The next part is everybody's favorite, adding the fish. Another big mistake plenty of people will make is causing a large ammonia spike right when they start because they try to add all their fish in at once. You have to do it in small groups. For me, it took me probably about 3 months to get all these fish in here because I would take small groups, put them in at a time because you don't want to load it, have a big ammonia spike. You want to let that beneficial bacteria slowly rise up so that it can help handle the ammonia. The next thing you want to do is acclimate them. You're just going to want to get the fish in the bag that you get from the store, float it on there. You want to float it for about 30 to 45 minutes. That way the water in the bag will start reaching the water in the tank, so it'll be about the same temperature. That way when you pour them in, they don't get any shock or anything like that. Next up is most people's least favorite part, maintaining the tank. It is one of the most important parts about having an aquarium, and it's crucial to your fish's health, but most people don't really like it because it's pretty boring. According to aquariumcoop.org, water changes are crucial to help keeping harmful ammonia and nitrite levels to a minimum. The size of your tank will help decide how often you need to do the water changes. I personally do a 5-gallon jug every week. Keeps it consistent, make sure that nothing builds up, and I don't forget because it's every week. But you just have to figure out what to do for your situation. The second part of maintenance is cleaning out the filter. Roughly every 2 months, you'll need to clean out the filter media to get all the fish waste out. One thing a lot of beginners mess up is they'll use tap water, which when you rinse out all the media in there with tap water, it'll kill the beneficial bacteria, causing a big ammonia spike in there. So you're going to want to use some water from a water change. That way, it'll save the beneficial bacteria and you won't have to worry about any sort of spike in ammonia. Today, I have helped explain the basics of how to choose your equipment, set up, and maintain your freshwater aquarium. Hopefully, if you follow the information I gave you, you'll be able to set up a functioning aquarium where your fish will thrive. But remember, one of the most important things to do is research. I gave you the basics, but keep researching to make sure your fish get the best and happiest, healthiest life you can possibly give them.